The massive hall of the Galactic Council was silent. 30 different alien species sat in their assigned sections, watching the holographic display in the center. The image showed a dying world. Zorathy Prime. Ambassador Sarah Chen of Earth leaned forward in her seat. She had never seen anything like this before. The beautiful crystal beings of Zorathy were turning to red dust, their bodies breaking apart as they screamed in pain. The Crimson Fade has infected 40% of their population, announced Council Leader Thrax, his 4 arms moving as he spoke. This disease spreads through touch, air, and even starlight. We have no cure. Sarah looked around the room. The other ambassadors were already backing away from their seats, creating distance between themselves and the Zorathy representative who sat alone, isolated in a containment field. The Zorathy ambassador, Crystal, stood up. His crystalline body was already showing red cracks. "Please," he said, his voice echoing like broken glass. "We need help. Our children are dying. Our cities are empty. Don't abandon us." Council Leader Thrax raised his hand. "The Council has made its decision. The Zorathy system will be quarantined. No ships in or out. This is for the safety of all civilized species." "That's a death sentence," Sarah shouted, standing up. Every eye in the hall turned to her. "Ambassador Chen," Thrax warned, "Earth is still new to the Council. Don't make foolish mistakes." Sarah's heart pounded, but she remembered why she became an ambassador. Her grandmother had taught her that helping others was the most important thing a person could do. She looked at Crystal's desperate face and made her choice. "Earth will not abandon the Zorathy," she declared. "We will send medical teams, supplies, whatever they need." The hall erupted in shocked voices. The insectoid Crix ambassador clicked his mandibles angrily. "Humans are insane. You'll bring the plague to your own world. If we don't help them, who will?" Sarah asked. "Is this what the Galactic Council stands for? Leaving entire species to die?" "You don't understand the danger," said Ambassador Veller of the Draconians. "The Crimson Fade has destroyed civilizations before. It cannot be stopped." "Everything can be stopped if we work together," Sarah replied. "Earth has faced plagues before. We learned that isolation only leads to more death. We need to study this disease, find a cure." Council Leader Thrax slammed his fist on the podium. "If Earth breaks the quarantine, you will face severe consequences. Trade sanctions, diplomatic isolation, perhaps even military action." Sarah took a deep breath. She knew this decision would change everything for humanity, but she also knew it was the right thing to do. "Then so be it," she said. "Earth stands with the Zorathy." As she walked out of the hall, she heard Crystal whisper, "Thank you." Sarah pulled out her communicator. "This is Ambassador Chen. Prepare the relief fleet. We have a species to save." Behind her, the council members argued and shouted. But Sarah didn't look back. Humanity had made its choice, and now the real work would begin. 3 days later, Captain Marcus Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the Earth ship Hope's Dawn. Behind him, 20 medical ships and cargo vessels prepared for the jump to Zorathy space. His crew was nervous but determined. "Captain, we're getting warnings from the Crix blockade," reported Lieutenant Kim. "They say they'll fire if we cross the quarantine line." Marcus smiled grimly. "Let them try. Plot a course through the asteroid field. We'll use it as cover." The fleet jumped into hyperspace. When they emerged near Zorathy Prime, the sight made everyone gasp. The once beautiful crystal cities were crumbling. Red dust storms swept across the planet's surface. "Sir, Crix warships approaching," Lieutenant Kim announced. "All ships, defensive formation," Marcus ordered. "Medical vessels to the center. We're going through." The Crix ships fired warning shots. Marcus didn't slow down. "This is Captain Rodriguez of Earth. We're on a humanitarian mission. Stand down, or we'll defend ourselves." "Foolish humans," the Crix commander snarled over the comm. "You'll kill us all." Suddenly, the Hope's Dawn shuddered. They'd been hit. But before the Cricks could fire again, something unexpected happened. Small Zorathi defense ships appeared from behind the planet's moon. Human vessels. Came a weak transmission. We'll hold them off. Save our people. The Zorathi ships were falling apart, their pilots already infected, but they fought with desperate courage. Marcus seized the opportunity. All medical ships, break for the planet. Now, Dr. Elena Volkov was in the first shuttle to land. The scene was heartbreaking. Crystalline bodies lay shattered in the streets. Those still alive reached out desperately as the humans approached in their protective suits. The readings are strange, Elena muttered, studying her scanner. This isn't behaving like any natural disease. In the main hospital, she met Dr. Curtine, a Zorathi scientist. Half his body had already turned red. "Thank you for coming," he whispered. "Everyone else left us to die." "We're here now," Elena assured him. "Tell me everything about how this started." As Curtine spoke, Elena's suspicions grew. The disease had appeared too suddenly, spread too perfectly. She collected samples and ran tests through the night. Meanwhile, Marcus coordinated supply drops across the planet. The Cricks kept threatening, but didn't dare attack with the human fleet in defensive positions. On the third day, Elena made a shocking discovery. She burst into Marcus's temporary command center. "Captain, it's not a plague. It's a bioweapon. Someone engineered this to kill the Zorathi." Marcus stood up sharply. "Are you certain?" "Look at these protein markers." Elena showed him the data. "This was designed in a lab. But there's more. Curtine told me something before he died. The Zorathi have ancient technology, something about traveling between dimensions. He said that's why they're being eliminated. Someone wants their technology and is willing to commit genocide to get it," Marcus realized. Above them, more Crick ships gathered. The blockade was tightening. But now Marcus knew they weren't just saving lives. They were uncovering a conspiracy that could threaten the entire galaxy. "We need to inform Earth," Marcus decided, "and find out who's really behind this attack." The human fleet had been on Zorathi Prime for 2 weeks when everything went wrong. Dr. Elena Volkov was working late in her lab when she heard footsteps behind her. She turned to see Lieutenant Peters pointing a gun at her head. "Step away from the samples," Dr. Peters said coldly. "Peters, what are you doing?" Elena's hands shook. "Following orders. The real orders." He moved toward her computer. "Delete all your research. Now." Elena's mind raced. "You're the one who's been sending reports to the Cricks. You're a traitor." Before Peters could shoot, a crystalline hand smashed through the window. A dying Zorathi guard tackled Peters, giving Elena time to grab the gun. The struggle was brief but violent. Peters lay unconscious on the floor. "Thank you," Elena gasped to the Zorathi guard, but he had already crumbled to red dust. She called Captain Marcus immediately. "We have a traitor. Peters tried to destroy my research." Within an hour, Marcus had Peters in the brig. Under questioning, Peters revealed shocking information. "The Cricks are just puppets," Peters laughed. "The real power wants the Zorathi gone. They have technology that could change everything. Dimensional gates that can take you anywhere instantly. The Council's inner circle has kept it secret for thousands of years." Meanwhile, Elena had made progress with the cure. "I need exarathium to stabilize the antidote," she told Marcus. "But it only exists on Crick's mining worlds." "They'll never trade with us," Marcus frowned. "Then we'll have to take it," Elena said firmly. The Zorathi elder, one of the few still able to speak, called them to the ancient temple beneath the crystal city. "You've earned our trust," she said weakly. "We'll share our dimensional technology with humanity. Use it to save us." The elder led them to a hidden chamber. Inside, a small gate hummed with blue energy. "This can take you anywhere," she explained. "But be careful. The technology is why they want us dead." Back on Earth, Ambassador Sarah Chen faced her own crisis. The Galactic Council had cut off all trade routes to Earth. Food shortages began. Protests filled the streets. Abandon the Zorathi. Angry crowds shouted outside her office. But Sarah received Marcus's message about the bioweapon and the conspiracy. She knew backing down now would doom not just the Zorathi, but potentially Earth too. She made a bold announcement. Citizens of Earth, we face a choice. We can abandon the Zorathi and live as cowards, or we can stand for what's right. Yes, there are consequences. Yes, we're suffering. But if we don't fight injustice now, we'll be next. Her words sparked something in humanity. Volunteers flooded recruitment centers. Scientists worked overtime. Engineers built new ships. Earth prepared for its greatest challenge. On Zorathi Prime, Marcus planned the mission to steal Cerathium. They would use the dimensional gate to infiltrate a Crix mining facility. It was dangerous, maybe suicidal, but it was their only hope. Once we go through that gate, Marcus told his team, there's no turning back. Alina gripped her medical kit. The Zorathi trusted us. We won't let them down. The gate flashed blue as they stepped through, not knowing what awaited them on the other side. The dimensional gate dropped Marcus and his team into darkness. They were inside a storage room in the Crix mining facility on Kepler 569. Red emergency lights flashed as alarms blared. They know we're here, whispered Sergeant Cole, checking her weapon. No, Marcus replied, studying his scanner. Something else triggered those alarms. They crept through metal corridors, avoiding Crix guards. The facility was in chaos. Workers ran past them, shouting in their clicking language. Alina translated through her device. Containment breach in the bioweapons lab. Bioweapons. Marcus froze. This isn't just a mining facility. They followed the panicked workers to a massive laboratory. Through the reinforced windows, they saw the truth. Rows of tanks held different alien species, all infected with variations of the Crimson Fade. My God, Alina gasped. They're testing the weapon on other species. In the center tank floated a dead Zorathi, its crystal body half dissolved. Next to it stood a computer terminal displaying weapon specifications. Cole quickly downloaded everything to her data stick. Look at this, she said, pointing to a screen. The Crix didn't create this alone. The orders came from something called the Shadow Syndicate. They're council members. Suddenly, doors slammed shut around them. A Crix commander appeared on the security screen. Humans, you've seen too much. Surrender now. We need that Cerathium, Marcus said. Cole, can you hack their systems? Cole's fingers flew across the keyboard. The Cerathium vault is 2 levels down. But I found something else. Communication logs between the Syndicate members. They're planning to test the weapon on Earth next. The Crix were cutting through the doors. Marcus made a quick decision. Alina, Cole, get to the vault. I'll hold them off. Captain. No. Alina protested. That's an order. Save the Zorathi, then save Earth. Alina and Cole ran while Marcus prepared for battle. The doors burst open. Marcus fought like a man possessed, taking down 3 Crix guards before being overwhelmed. In the vault, Alina and Cole found mountains of Cerathium crystals. They filled their bags quickly. Cole also grabbed experimental weapons and classified documents. We can't leave the captain, Alina said. We won't. Cole smiled grimly and activated the facility's self-destruct sequence. This will distract them. They fought their way back to Marcus, who was badly beaten but alive in a holding cell. Cole used a stolen keycard to free him. As explosions rocked the facility, they ran for the dimensional gate coordinates. Crix soldiers fired at them. Cole took a hit to her shoulder, but kept running. They dove through the gate just as the facility exploded behind them. They landed hard on Zorathi Prime, bags full of Cerathium and evidence that would shake the galaxy. Did we get it? Marcus coughed, blood on his lips. Alina held up a glowing crystal. We got it, and proof of who's behind everything. In orbit, the Crix fleet suddenly retreated. They couldn't risk their involvement being exposed. Marcus smiled despite his pain. Now we make the cure. Then we take down the Shadow Syndicate. The Zorathi had hope again, but the real war was just beginning. Elena worked day and night in her lab. The Exorathium cure was working, but slowly. Only 100 Zorathi had been saved so far. Millions more were dying. We need more equipment, more medicine, she told Marcus, who was recovering from his injuries. But nothing's getting through. The situation had turned critical. 12 species had joined the blockade around Earth and Zorathi Prime. Giant warships filled the sky, their weapons aimed at both planets. "This is Admiral Krax of the Combined Fleet," came the announcement. "Surrender the dimensional technology and the evidence you stole. You have 24 hours. On Earth, cities went dark as power supplies ran low. Food riots broke out. Ambassador Sarah Chen stood before the United Nations. "They want us to surrender," she said, "to let the Zorathi die and pretend we saw nothing. But if we do that, we lose more than a war. We lose our humanity." The world leaders voted unanimously. Earth would not surrender. Marcus, still bandaged, took command of the defense. "We can't match their firepower," he told his officers. "But we know something they don't. Human history is full of small forces defeating larger ones." He divided the human fleet into small groups. Hit and run. Target their supply ships. Make them chase shadows. The first battle came at dawn. A massive draconian battleship approached Earth. Instead of meeting it head-on, human fighters swarmed from multiple directions, targeting its engines. The battleship, built for fleet battles, couldn't track the agile human craft. "They fight like insects," the draconian commander complained. On Zorathi Prime, Elena had a breakthrough. "The dimensional technology doesn't just transport," she explained excitedly. "It can transform. We can use it to mass-produce the cure." But they needed time. The Krix fleet was bombing Zorathi cities, trying to destroy all evidence of their crimes. Marcus organized the defense while Elena raced to modify the dimensional gates. The siege lasted weeks. Human pilots learned to use asteroid fields and planetary rings as cover. They laid traps in nebulas. They used old Earth tactics, guerrilla warfare in space. "The humans are insane," reported the Krix commander. "They attack with damaged ships. Their pilots laugh as they die." Earth's colonies declared independence rather than abandon the fight. Mars sent its entire fleet. The moon bases launched everything that could fly. Mining ships from the asteroid belt arrived with improvised weapons. In a daring raid, human special forces captured a Krix command ship. They broadcast the evidence of the Shadow Syndicate across all galactic channels. Images of the bioweapons lab, the test subjects, the execution orders, everything. Protests erupted on dozens of worlds. Some fleet captains refused to fire on human ships. The blockade began to crack. But the Shadow Syndicate had one last card to play. They activated ancient weapons platforms hidden near Earth and Zorathi Prime. Planet-killer weapons from a forgotten war. "All ships, prepare for final assault," Marcus ordered grimly. They had one chance to stop the weapons before they fired. Elena looked at the modified dimensional gate. "I need more time." "Time's up," Marcus replied. "We fight with what we have." A small ship slipped through the blockade at night. Inside were 3 unlikely visitors: Ambassador Vitek of the Insectoid Vector, Princess Mira of the Aquatic Meridians, and Luminous One Zephyr of the energy-based Luminary. "We come in secret," Vitek clicked to Marcus. "Your courage has inspired us. We too have suffered under the Shadow Syndicate." "The Vector were denied colony rights," Vitek explained. "The Meridians lost their ocean worlds to pollution. The Luminary were hunted for our energy cores. Now we fight together," Princess Mira said, her scales shimmering. "We bring supplies, weapons, and hope." The secret alliance grew quickly. Cargo ships disguised as debris drifted past the blockade. Meridian submarines emerged from Earth's oceans with food. Luminary energy beings powered failing hospitals. Alina made another discovery. The cure works better when I combine it with luminary energy. We can save more Zorathi, faster. She worked with Zephyr, their different sciences merging into something new. The dimensional gate hummed with power as they produced cure by the ton. Meanwhile, the Vectar taught humans their camouflage technology. Human ships became invisible, striking the blockade fleet from nowhere. The Meridians shared their underwater bases, giving Earth's forces hidden refuges. The Shadow Syndicate grew desperate. They sent assassins after the Alliance leaders. A bomb nearly killed Ambassador Chen. Poison gas attacked Alina's lab, but each attempt only made the Alliance stronger. They fear us because we're different, Chen told the Secret Council. A human, a crystal being, an insect, a water dweller, and living energy. Working together. We're their worst nightmare. The turning point came when a Krix captain defected. Captain Krillex landed on Zorathi Prime with crucial information. I couldn't watch my people commit genocide anymore, he said. The Shadow Syndicate rules through fear. They have blackmail files on every species. Here they are. The files revealed shocking secrets. The Syndicate had started wars, created famines, and destroyed planets to maintain control. They had ruled from the shadows for 10,000 years. We broadcast this to everyone, Marcus decided. Let the galaxy see the truth. The Alliance hijacked every communication satellite. For 1 hour, every screen in known space showed the evidence. The reaction was explosive. On the draconian homeworld, citizens stormed government buildings. Krix workers went on strike. Even some council members called for investigations. The blockade fleet fractured. Ships from different species started fighting each other. Some joined the Alliance, others fled. In the chaos, Alina finished the cure. Thousands of Zorathi were saved each day. Their crystal bodies healed, stronger than before. We did it, Alina smiled, exhausted but triumphant. Not yet, Marcus warned. The planet killers are still active, and the Syndicate won't give up power easily. As if on cue, alarms blared. The ancient weapons platforms powered up, glowing with deadly energy. They had minutes before Earth, and Zorathi Prime would be destroyed. All ships, prepare for final battle, Marcus ordered. We either win today or die free. The Alliance fleet, now a rainbow of different species, formed up. Together, they charged toward their destiny. As the Alliance fleet prepared for battle, Elder Karana, the last Zorathi council member, called Marcus and Alina to the deepest chamber of the Crystal Temple. Before you face the planet killers, you must know the truth, Karana said, her crystalline form pulsing with weak light. The dimensional gates are not just for travel. They are keys to something greater. She touched a crystal wall, revealing a star map millions of years old. The Shadow Syndicate has existed since the first civilization fell. They found ancient technology, the cosmic library, containing all knowledge of the universe. Alina gasped. That's why they want to destroy you. Yes, Karana nodded. Our dimensional gates can unlock the library. The Syndicate has kept it sealed, feeding the galaxy small pieces of technology to maintain control. They create problems, then sell solutions. They've been playing God, Marcus realized. Karana handed them a crystal key. This will unlock the library's location. But beware, the Syndicate's leader, the Eternal Chancellor, guards it personally. No one has seen his true form in millennia. Back on the bridge, Marcus shared the revelation with the Alliance. We're not just fighting for survival anymore. We're fighting to free the entire galaxy from manipulation. The fleet approached the planet killers. These ancient weapons were massive, each the size of a moon. As they powered up, space itself seemed to warp around them. Energy readings are off the scale, Cole reported. They'll fire in 3 minutes. The Alliance attacked from all sides. Vectar stealth ships planted bombs. Meridian vessels used water-based weapons to short-circuit systems. Luminary beings channeled energy to overload shields. But the weapons were too well protected. For every system they disabled, 2 more activated. "We're running out of time." Sarah Chen watched from Earth, gripping her chair. Then Alina had an idea. "The dimensional gates. We can use them to redirect the planet killer's energy." "That's suicide," Marcus protested. "The gates aren't designed for that much power." "Do you have a better idea?" Alina asked. With seconds to spare, they activated every dimensional gate they had. The gates formed a network between the planet killers and empty space. When the weapons fired, the beams hit the gates and vanished. But the strain was too much. The gates began to overload. In that moment, something unexpected happened. The crystal key Krana gave them activated, revealing coordinates in deep space. "The cosmic library," Alina shouted. The overload opened a path. Through the collapsing gate network, they saw it, a structure larger than a star system, hidden in a fold of spacetime. And guarding it was a ship unlike any other, black as space itself. "The Eternal Chancellor," Marcus whispered. A voice echoed across all channels, ancient and cold. "You have meddled enough, humans. The knowledge of the universe is not for lesser species." The black ship fired a beam that sliced through a draconian cruiser like paper. "All ships, evasive action," Marcus ordered. "We've found what they're hiding. Now we need to survive long enough to use it." The Eternal Chancellor's ship cut through the Alliance fleet like a knife through paper, but Marcus had a plan. "Alina, can you use the crystal key to access the library while we distract him?" "I need to get closer," she replied. "And I need time to decode the entry sequence." Marcus nodded. "All ships, formation Delta. Protect the science vessel." While the battle raged, Alina worked frantically with the crystal key. The Zorathi symbols glowed and shifted, forming complex patterns. On Earth, Ambassador Chen made a galaxy-wide broadcast. "Citizens of all worlds, the Shadow Syndicate has lied to us for millennia. They hoard knowledge that belongs to everyone. Today, we fight for truth." Her words sparked revolutions across the galaxy. On the Crick's homeworld, citizens stormed Syndicate bases. Draconian fleet commanders switched sides mid-battle. Even some council members openly rebelled. "Chancellor, we're losing control everywhere," a Syndicate agent reported. The Eternal Chancellor's voice was ice. "Then we'll reset everything. Prepare the Erasure Protocol." Near the Cosmic Library, the Alliance fleet regrouped. The Luminary had discovered something crucial. "The Chancellor's ship has a weakness," Zephyr explained. "It needs to recharge after each major attack. We have a 30-second window." "That's our chance," Marcus decided. "When he fires next, everyone hit him at once." The black ship charged its weapon. The Alliance waited. The moment it fired, destroying 3 vessels, they attacked. Hundreds of ships poured fire into the Chancellor's shields. The shields cracked but held. "Again," Marcus ordered. "Double it up." Meanwhile, Alina finally cracked the code. The crystal key projected a beam toward the library. Ancient doors, each larger than planets, began to open. "No!" the Chancellor screamed. His ship turned toward Alina's vessel. But the Zorathi had one last surprise, every surviving crystal being linked together, forming a living shield around Alina's ship. The Chancellor's beam hit them and refracted in 1,000 directions. The Zorathi were the first civilization's guardians. Krana's voice echoed. "We remember our duty." Alina's ship entered the library. Inside, she found infinite corridors of knowledge, medical cures, technological blueprints, historical truths, and in the center, the Erasure Protocol control system. "The protocol will destroy all advanced technology in the galaxy," she realized. "It's their final solution. Send everyone back to the Stone Age." She had minutes to stop it. Her fingers flew across alien controls, using everything she'd learned about dimensional technology. Outside, the battle reached its climax. The Chancellor's ship, damaged but deadly, prepared a final attack on Earth itself. All ships, ramming speed. Marcus ordered. We stop him here. The human flagship accelerated toward the black ship. Other Alliance vessels followed. They knew it was suicide, but Earth had to survive. At the last second, Elena succeeded. She didn't just stop the protocol, she reversed it. Every syndicate base in the galaxy shut down simultaneously. Hidden weapons deactivated. Secret files uploaded to public networks. The Chancellor's ship lost power. His true form was revealed, not an alien at all, but an ancient AI that had manipulated organic life for eons. This isn't over, the AI broadcast before his ship exploded. The Alliance had won, but the real work was just beginning. The sun had barely risen over the alien planet when the final battle began. The newly formed human-alien coalition stood united, ready to face an enemy more powerful than any they had ever encountered. The sky was filled with the sound of warships as they soared above, their engines roaring with power. Below, the soldiers prepared for what would be their greatest challenge yet. The enemy, a race of brutal conquerors, had arrived with overwhelming force. Their ships were enormous, covered in dark armor that seemed to absorb the light. Their soldiers, towering and relentless, marched across the battlefield like a wave of destruction. They had one goal: to wipe out the remaining alien races and take control of the galaxy. The human and alien forces stood firm. The humans, with their unshakable determination, had trained the alien survivors for this day. The aliens, who had once been on the brink of extinction, now fought alongside their human protectors, a bond forged in the fire of survival. In the midst of the chaos, the human commander, Captain Ilara, stood tall, issuing orders with precision. Her voice cut through the air, steady and calm despite the storm of violence surrounding her. She knew that the fate of both their species depended on this battle. "Hold the line," she shouted. "Do not let them breach our defenses." The alien soldiers, their faces hardened by years of hardship, stood beside the humans. They fought with an intensity that could only come from knowing they had everything to lose. The warriors of the alien race, once divided by distrust and fear, now fought as one with their human allies. Together, they pushed back the invaders with every strike, every blast of energy that lit up the sky. But the enemy was relentless. For every alien soldier who fell, two more rose to take their place. The battle was fierce, and the air was thick with smoke and the scent of burning metal. The humans were outnumbered, but their courage never wavered. Amidst the chaos, a young alien warrior, Khan, fought beside his human partner, Sergeant Lucas. The two had become close friends during the long months of training, and today they stood side by side, knowing that their lives were intertwined. "Khan, we can do this," Lucas called out, firing his blaster at an approaching enemy. Khan nodded, his sharp eyes scanning the battlefield. "For our people," he said, his voice filled with determination. They moved in perfect sync, covering each other's backs as they fought. As the battle raged on, Captain Ilara made a desperate decision. She knew that the only way to end this war was to strike at the heart of the enemy's command ship. It was heavily guarded, but it was their only chance. "Ilara, we can't do it alone," Lucas said, hearing the commander's plan. "We don't have a choice," Ilara replied, her face set in resolve. "We move as one. We strike at the heart, or all is lost." With no time to waste, Ilara and her team gathered their forces, pushing forward through the enemy lines. They fought their way toward the command ship, each step harder than the last. The air was thick with tension, the weight of their mission pressing down on them. This was the moment that would determine the future. Finally, they'd reached the command ship. With a coordinated effort, the humans and aliens launched their final assault. Explosions lit up the sky, and the ground shook as the battle reached its climax. Ilara led the charge, her team following closely behind. They knew that only by working together, no matter the cost, could they defeat the invaders and secure a future for their people. The ship finally fell. The enemy forces began to retreat, their morale shattered. Victory was within reach, but it had come at a high cost. The battlefield was littered with the fallen, both human and alien. But as the last enemy ship disappeared into the distance, a sense of relief washed over the survivors. They had won. Against all odds, the human-alien coalition had triumphed. The galaxy had witnessed the power of unity, of what could be achieved when two races, once divided, chose to stand together. It was a victory not just for the humans and aliens, but for every civilization that had ever been abandoned. Today, they had proven that humanity would always stand for what was right, no matter the cost. The smoke from the battle still hung in the air, but the sounds of war had finally faded. The once shattered battlefield was now silent, save for the soft hum of the human ships hovering overhead. The skies, once filled with dark warships, were now clear, the threat of the invaders gone. In their place, a new hope had taken root. Captain Ilara stood at the edge of the battlefield, her eyes scanning the horizon. The war had taken its toll, but the victory was theirs. The enemy was defeated, and the remaining invaders had fled. They had not just protected the alien race, they had given them a future. Beside her stood Khan, the young alien warrior who had fought so bravely alongside the humans. His eyes, once filled with doubt and fear, now held a sense of pride. He looked out at the survivors of his people, who were slowly rebuilding their homes and their lives. "This is only the beginning," Khan said quietly, his voice filled with hope. Ilara nodded, a small smile crossing her face. "Yes, this is the start of something new, for both of us." The alien survivors, once a broken people, now had a chance to thrive again. The humans had not only protected them, but had helped them rebuild their cities, restore their culture, and recover their strength. For the first time in years, the aliens could look to the future with hope, knowing they were not alone in the universe. The humans, too, had changed. Their willingness to protect and defend a people they had no reason to, except for the belief in doing what was right, had earned them respect in the galaxy. They had proven that heroism was not about might or power, but about standing for what was just, even when the odds were against them. The Galactic Council, who had once questioned humanity's role in the galaxy, now watched with awe. The humans had shown that they could not only fight, but also lead. They had earned their place in the galactic order, not by force, but by their actions. The other races, seeing humanity's strength and compassion, were forced to reconsider their stance. But for Captain Ilara, the most important victory was not the political recognition or the strategic triumph. It was the lives saved, the bonds formed, and the trust gained. She had witnessed a people, once forgotten and abandoned, now standing on their feet again, ready to build a future for themselves. As the sun set over the alien planet, Ilara turned to Khan. "You and your people will flourish. Together, we've proven that unity is stronger than any enemy." Khan smiled, his eyes filled with gratitude. "And we will never forget it." The humans had shown the galaxy that, in the end, it wasn't power or resources that mattered. It was the willingness to protect those who couldn't protect themselves. The humans had stood by the aliens when no one else would, and that had made all the difference. As the night sky lit up with the stars of 1,000 worlds, a new chapter began. The once abandoned aliens now stood as partners with humanity, their future brighter than ever. The galaxy had changed forever, and the humans had proven that they would always choose to protect, no matter the cost. The war was over. The rebuilding had begun. And with it, a future of hope, unity, and peace was born.